All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we do the live trading. All right, good morning, or live analysis on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Then we have live trading with JTrader, Stocks Trader on Wednesdays, and then Thursdays we have Scott Pulcini live trading. So the goal here is to educate you about order flow. This is all free. And we think that using Bookmap, though, will give you an edge by understanding the order flow and the way that we visualize the market data. We have an educational course. It's online. It's on our YouTube channel. You can go to our bookmap.com/education page and get access to that educational course. It goes through how to read order flow. Then we apply all of that right here in these live analysis webinars. This is forward-looking. It is not hindsight. And then we follow up with live trading with JTrader and Scott Pulcini. Therefore, you should have the complete package here to get you up and running and understand how to use order flow. Come to our Discord channel to learn more as well. Let's go through the disclosures and then we'll jump right into the market. All right, the general disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in, guys, and we'll see what's happening here. Whoops, hold on a minute. We just came from the German webinar with Oliver Sparring. So you guys that speak German, or it will be in English as well once the subtitles are up. He does a great job over there, so look for that. I can show you where that is on our Discord channel. You can look under special events in here. And you'll see where that special event is, etc. And then you can scroll down in here and see the special events channel right here. So we just came from here, right? So lots of good stuff in there. Let's take a look at these markets and get into it. All right, so we're looking at the S&P E-mini. We'll go through whatever you want to go through. Stocks, cryptocurrencies, whatever we have data for, we'll cover it if you want. Most people are happy with the S&P E-mini. It goes over the broad stock indexes and gives good insight. All right, so you can see what's happened already. Good stuff. High liquidity in here, bigger picture time frame. And let me get my pen tool out. Okay, high liquidity in here. Where? Up here. Where do we trade? Up here. Where do we trade at the open? Up here. Also up here, there's high liquidity, but we never got to it. And then we see the sellers come in. Okay. Now look what happened here. All right, we're going back inside a range in here, and we'll get into the range in just a minute. But pretty big range, and we just broke it. Okay, just now. Where did we go though? Okay. Well, there's high liquidity down here. Kind of paused here a little bit, and then there's high liquidity in here, and that's where we've gone to so far. All right, so just understanding liquidity in this market is going to give you an edge, just that alone. You could take off the volume dots if you want. I think you're going to get tremendous insight from just the volume dots alone as well. But when you combine all of these, there's only 3 elements on this Bookmap chart in here. Okay, so there's just best bid. Let me go through it here. There is best bid and offer. Take them all off here, and our VWAP will take that off as well. We just have best bid and offer in here, streaming back and forth. It gives all of the price action. Then we're going to show in here the volume that transacts within that best bid and offer, or the price structure that's created by it. So now we have an understanding of where the volume pressures are within here. Okay, That's essential to understand. Most of us are pretty in tune with understanding volume, not only in the subchart, but also like your market delta charts, understanding where it takes place, right? So this here shows that precisely. We're showing you very precisely where that volume is taking place. The aggressor volume here, the market buy orders are these big green dots. The aggressor sell orders, okay, market sell orders are these red dots. The size of the dot gives you insight to how much volume traded at those areas. So now we have a context of understanding volume within the market structure. Here's our market structure right here, okay, and goes a little bit higher here actually. So let me just more precisely, okay, up to about here. Okay, this has been kind of a range in here, and it went above this is a false breakout. This happens often at the market opens, and then a lot of stops are going to be triggered here and here as people get involved to the long side here, or maybe they're starting to get stopped out here on the downside. Okay, so anyone that was short in here is getting probably stopped out up here. We can see the spike here in the stops, okay, and in the icebergs as well. Anyway, now we have that context of volume within that structure. Look at the volume coming in. Now, where are they going to go? That's where the heat map comes in. Okay? And we also understand not only where they're going to go, but and here they go down to this this liquidity here. Let's see if they can get down to, let's just zoom out a little bit here vertically, 85. We can see 80, 75, 70, 65. Who is putting their orders down in these areas here? Okay, every 5 points. These are larger players. Okay, they want to get filled and be a buyer at these areas is what they're broadcasting to us. See how 80 is starting to add more liquidity in here? Okay, the heat map is up here in the top center of the chart. Let me just fully undim it here. So red and orange is very high liquidity, then yellow, then white, then blue, and then black. Okay, so if we come down to about halfway here, we can see that 80, they're adding more liquidity in here at 36.80. We have that context. Okay, so we have context of market structure, volume within it, and also the auction part of where they're bidding and offering. All right, so they're bidding down here. Okay, they're bidding here at 85. Right, and we're starting to understand the relationship between these market participants. Note that they got filled in here at big red dots right into high liquidity here. Big red dots right into high liquidity here as well. Okay, so we're getting a lot of insight here. All right, so we look for sellers to continue until we see a change in the behavior here. Okay, and that change would be over here with big green dots, okay, pulling that market up probably above here, and here they come, right? And we'd be looking for big green dots in here, and they would pull that up and hit 3,700, the figure, right? So this would be the area and that liquidity up here as well. Okay, we may see a change in the behavior of these market participants. Okay, all of these guys in here, we'll look for stops on the other side. Okay, probably if we look at the line here, probably get stops somewhere up in this area around here. Okay, and then up in this area up here. Okay, and you can see also 35, 37.05. I'm sorry, 37.05, starting to show some liquidity up there. Again, we're looking at the context, right? So anyway, we're showing all of the information here, and here come more buyers, right? So they've already hit this 97 area here, and look pretty poised to hit 3,700. Okay, so very simple, very straightforward. It's understanding the orders within the market behavior or market structure here. Okay, that's it. This is order flow. Okay, now we can look at it on this time frame in here. You don't have to look at your dome or your depth of market. When you do look at your dome, this is what you see more or less. Okay, now it depends, right? on your data provider, etc. But you might be looking at something that's limited with maybe 10 on the offer and 10 on the bid. This is the data you're getting, is just this. Okay, and look how quickly this is changing, and look how quickly well, it goes back up and above and below these kind of 10 levels in here. Okay, this is your level 2 or your dome, your depth of market. Right now, you just can't get a whole lot out of it. With Bookmap here from Rhythmic Data and also DXFeed data, we have full depth of market, meaning that you're not just going to get these 10 levels in here. So let's show that. Okay, unlimited depth. All of these levels, if I zoom vertically, here up at 45,000 or 100 up here, there's 169 orders. Okay, at 4,090 orders. Right, these are live. You'll see these numbers fluctuate and change. Okay, 3,800, 140 up here. Okay, you'll see. You know, if we continue to there, it went to 148 just now. It was 140. Right, so having that full depth of market gives you the entire auction here. Okay, not just 10 on the offer and 10 on the bid. Okay, now what we're doing is looking at not only the current market here. Okay, when we showed that dome in here, okay, we're looking at the historical market, and all of that liquidity is captured here in the heat map. See how they just came in here with 575 orders here at 3,700, the figure, or a little bit below it, it looks like. And we can zoom in there and get the data. It's probably right spot on the figure. No, it's a little bit lower right here. Okay, so they're front running the figure. Okay, so they want to be sellers up here. This is kind of bearish. Okay, so they want to be sellers in front of these areas here. Okay, they're not behind it. They're not pulling liquidity up here. They're showing a lot of supply up here. Okay, we'll see if the aggressors want to trade with these people up here, and they are. Here they go. All right, so this is the context we want to read. Okay, now we're looking for, we can look at classical technical analysis. We can look at all sorts of things in here to give us insight to where sellers may come in and then drop it below some of these areas here. Right here, for example, do we see sellers come in? Yeah, a little bit. We'll see if we get a retest, and then they'll trade down to 95 or maybe even lower. Okay, so we're kind of bouncing around in here. Looks like we're going to transact up here with these guys, but we still need to see, is there still more buying pressure? Okay, this is our large lot tracker showing one individual trader up here is holding the majority of those, and he just transacted. Okay, so the buyers took them on. Now look at this behavior in here. Okay, you just don't get this kind of behavior or insight in the visualization from other products in here. All right, so now we're going to read that context in here. Seems to be buying pressure again. Now, did they go through this area though? No. All right, I'm looking to see if we get sellers here right now to drop it. Okay, because we're below those areas. Okay, so we're putting that context together up here. Okay, so now it's already dropped. I can't speak fast enough here. We're looking for the bottom of this swing to test. Okay, and it just did. Okay, and we can see we're back and forth in here. We're finding buyers and sellers, and it's really not too clear who's in control in this range here. They're both buying and selling, but we can read it at the top of the edge here and look for selling pressure to come down and at least test into some of these areas here. Now, here's more. All right, sellers, let's see if you can drop it down to 92, maybe 90. Okay, so again, we're reading context here. Okay, now look what happened here. All right, so we had some sellers. Okay, we have some buyers trying to bring it back up into the range. Okay, we can look at more analysis in here. We can look at traditional things if you guys like. We can look at volume profiles, whatever. Okay, so let's see if we're trading back up into this profile up here. Okay, this is the most traded level of this area in here. Okay, well, now look what's happening here. We're getting sellers back down. Great. All right, sellers, let's see you test down to 93 and through it. 90, 91, 90. Okay, so just putting again this context together of this trading range and the buyers and sellers within it by their order behavior here. That's the key. It's not from some sort of CVD. We can put CVD on here. It's not from some sort of RSI. It's not from some sort of other derivative of time, price, and volume. Okay. Instead, it's by the behavior of the participants. That's what we're getting in here. Good morning, Eighth Trader. You see you using Rhythmic. Yeah, Rhythmic, you can get it from the Bookmap marketplace. Okay, or you can call up your broker and see if they offer it. Okay, look at the buyers still fighting it in here. Okay, we're still testing the bottom of this range in here, but we're finding quite a bit of buying in here still. Okay, so this is a battle right now in this range. It's an important battle here for this price action. Okay, so this was a failed breakdown here. It was looking pretty good for a continuation, but all of this buying here disrupted that. Okay, I know that's hindsight. We'll get to the live order flow reading here, but now we're back up to here, right, where we found a lot of sellers, but buyers took them on. Okay, so let's see if this is going to be maybe is it going to break out, or are we going to get another false breakout here, and then back into the range, back to where? Okay, well, previous or point of control here, so maybe around this 96.75. Okay, or are we going to continue here? Okay, so we're getting a lot of buying pressure up here. It looks like it wants to break out up into 02 and then maybe 05. Okay, let's see if we get that here. Now what we're going to look at for this context, we have the buying pressure here, but we don't have them on the bid. They're starting to come in now at 99 and 97 here. Okay, now they're starting to come in on the offer. Okay, so this is back and forth in here. We don't really know. All right, we're reading it in here, and let's see if we get enough sellers in here to break this, then we're going to come back down probably to this liquidity, or first our 97 or 96 level here, and then on down lower, probably to the bottom of the range. Okay, and then we'll probably see a stop run, because these people buying the breakout are going to get hurt and have to be compelled to cover down at these lower levels here. All right, so let's see if we get our stop run. Okay, we have stops and icebergs here in Bookmap. All right, here come our sellers. Let's see if they can get below this here and run it. 94.5, our 96 level, and then we can go back down below here. Now we do have like a Fed speaker right now as well, so we're getting some back and forth in here in the order flow. Eighth Trader, did I answer your question on the on Rhythmic? I can show that. Good morning, Crypto Surfer. Captain Price, welcome back. Yeah, we're trying to read the behavior here, Captain Price. It is back and forth here at the moment here, right? Look at the buyers still supporting it though. Now, but and this is good, but we look for the next level here. Okay, looks pretty decent. I just don't like the bid not showing up here. Okay, and we didn't get up here though at 01 and a quarter. That's where we really need to see the volume for the breakout. Okay, and then we can ride it right up to 05. And if we don't see anything, there's nothing to do. I mean, we can go over different edges in here, maybe edges that we're looking for continuation patterns here right now. Okay, but maybe we'll be looking at just range bound considerations here. Again, this is not a trade recommendation nor a trading room. Okay, we're just reading the order flow. Okay, trying to get an edge from understanding the conditions of the orders here. So look at this here. They got these buyers on the run here. If we get enough sellers down here, we're back to point of control, right? And they're bouncing off of it. Okay, we're still seeing some support here. Now, I like the selling in here. So let's see if we can get down below it and then back down to the bottom of the range. Okay, and then potentially get a stop run here with all of these guys in here. Okay, and then look for a move back down here. Okay, not getting that scenario at all. In fact, it's the opposite. So here we go. Here are the buyers. Now, kind of hard to capture that one. It was one of the scenarios, but I was covering this here and not being able to get to this over here. So up to 05 looks pretty good. If we can continue here, there's 05 and it's just moving too quickly. There's the continuation here, still looking for 10 then. Okay, that would be the next level of high liquidity up here. Okay, and that's kind of where we opened up here, or I'm sorry, that's where there was data here. This is consumer confidence data here. Okay, now we're retracing all the way back up here. Okay, where the sellers came in. Okay, move the market lower and took control of that market. And then they are still in control of this market here. How many, I'm kind of curious out there about fib traders or measured moves, I should say. Okay, so in fact, let me, I'm going to put a poll out. I love these polls, just get some feedback from you guys. All right, guys. So give me your feedback here. Fibonacci's or measured moves. There's a distinction. There really is, and it's an important one, a very important one. So give me a yes or no on that one, and let's continue on here. All right. So this is turning sellers still in control, right? A lot of buying that came in here. Okay, a lot of selling starting to come in again. Now, where do you think you guys would? I mean, first we got to clear below this kind of breakout area here. Okay, but where would you guys target this? Okay, if sellers come in and see how we're getting some support here on the buy side, it's not much, but now it's turning into something better. Okay, it still needs to get above here on buy volume though. And that would be your pullback trade right there. Okay, back up to here to 10, our 10 level. This is a strong move, guys. I like it. Actually looking for above 10, maybe up to 13, and then maybe up to kind of 17-ish, 18-ish. This 20 level has been an important level in here. We've seen a lot of order flow around it. So just looking at this area up here, you can see the breakdown here from it. All right, so let's see how many people have participated in this. 16. So 56. So it's pretty even here. I mean, 56 say, I'm sorry, 59% say no. Okay. So we're looking at, we can put a fib on the poll. Guys, I like the buying in here. Okay, We just got to get above this area here. This is where it dropped from. This is where the sellers took control. Okay, so and we got to get a test there first. Okay, the buying is pretty good though. Buying is pretty strong. Okay, our back and forth was in here. Okay, we talked about this move to the upside, and then the back and forth where we didn't really get too much insight was in this area in here. Okay, we just weren't quite too sure. And then you can see the cluster of buying in here, pull back, and then this is a good one. I mean, this is strong buying. We're looking for the breakout. It went back and forth in here a few times and then broke out. Now we're looking to see if this area might have turned into, with the selling, if they get below that point of control and then move it down into this area here. Okay, we know what happened now. But the second scenario, which I just wasn't able to cover quick enough, was the buying taking it up further, and then again the bounce off of here, or potential false breakdown back into, in the first level the test would be down here. Okay, now it looks like we're going to get our false breakout here. Let's see if these sellers can now take it below here. There they go. Okay, there's our first test here. Now they've got enough selling pressure and enough buyers potentially on the run to run it back down to the bottom of the range, or maybe even our 90 level here. All right, so let's see if we can see when those sellers come in. Okay, they came in here, and buyers already taken it back. Okay, so let's see here. How's our poll going? 25. Okay. All right, well, let's go over some measured moves in here and why this happens in order flow. Okay, now Fibonacci levels, like we're not going to cover that. I'm not a big fan of fibs, and the reason being is there's all sorts of lines in there. It's going to hit one of them, and I don't know how many people are actually looking at that. If you are a fib trader and you like it, great, but I would just suggest looking at the order flow to support your Fibonacci decisions. Okay, that's it. All right, so if you see the order flow around those areas where you trade, typically you're going to get a lot deeper insight. You're going to understand the volume precisely at those areas. You're going to understand the limit buy and sell orders precisely at those areas, if they're going to support the moves that you're looking for or not. Okay, that is the same for everything. If it's candlesticks, here we go, guys, looking for those sellers and looking for a quick move back down into, well, 95, and then if we can get back down into 90 here. We're not. It's back up in this little range here. Yeah, it's like a false breakdown. So far. Okay, so measured moves. All right, let's clear our drawings here. And why measured moves take place. Okay, and something you can rely on more in a measured move than you know, your Fibonacci levels. Okay, and what happens in there. All right, so look at the buying pressure come in. All right, so we're back up again, and it's pretty good buying, likely. Yeah, looking for the move. Well, 05 here, and then we see 07 and then 10 here. Looking for the bigger move would be up to 10 here. Obviously, we got to get through 05. Okay, we might get a retracement back to here. And let's see if we get a continuation here. You can see it's kind of just bashing around the figure right now. Buyers above it. Let's see if sellers below it. Let's see if they do that. and then back down to 97. Well, here's our measured moves right in front of us. All right, look at this range in here. It's a range, and we're looking to see where other traders might be placing their orders. What about traders in this range? Sellers in here, where are they going to place their stops? Well, maybe top of the range, or maybe they're going to give it back up to if this was their kind of 1-to-1 ratio here, or maybe they're going 2-to-1 looking for a breakdown. Okay, then they're going to be placing their stops up in here. Okay, there's also, this is where sellers came in. So we have some ideas of why this might be almost exactly the same move as this move down here. Okay, now on our false breakouts and breakdowns, we're not going to get, typically we're not going to get a full move like that. We might get half. Okay, so look at those levels in here, half of the range or full range here. Okay, you'll see this again and again and again. All right, so let's see if see how this is starting. We're starting to get smaller ranges here. Okay, great. Let's see if sellers can break it and trade back down to here or bottom of the range here. Okay, if they don't and we get buyers back up in here, top of the range, we can draw a new range and look for it up to 10. Okay, measured move again. Okay, let's look for it. And that's why we go through these scenarios. Now we're looking at the order flow within these scenarios. Okay, more buyers. Top of the range. Let's see them move it up to 10. It's pretty good buying. Note these aren't really very precise in here. I mean, there's all sorts of kind of measured moves to take a look at, and this kind of narrow down here into a range like this. But we're going to go through the general one. All right, there's your failure. It didn't reach 10. Here's our failure. Now here's our second. So it basically almost did both of our scenarios here. Okay, so this was the first level down here, right? And then a bounce off of that where these buyers came in, right? And then the next level is down here at the figure basically. Okay, let's look at the condition of the selling here. Look at the control they took here. Great, leg 1, leg 2, measured move down to the figure. All right, so now what we're going to do with these measured moves in here is we're going to line up the order flow. All right, so we thought 10. Well, we came pretty close to it. And then look where the sellers took control. See, we're just not making this stuff up. It's just not made up. The market makes it up. So we had our measured move kind of almost to where we were looking for up here at 10. And then the sellers took control of it below here. Okay, and now they're getting tested right back to it at 07. Okay, here come those buyers. These buyers are relentless. They're not giving up. We've seen this behavior a bunch of times now. Okay, so yeah, it's looking confusing here, but you can look for these measured moves and then look for the order flow around them to understand if we're going to get there or not. And now manage your trade within some of these measured moves. It gives you a good understanding of what's going on. Okay, now what else is a lot of you guys I'm going to end the poll there. So a lot of you guys, well, like Scott, for example, you look at some of the Scott Pulsini trades and what he's doing. Okay, what does he use for his trade management? Those of you who attend those webinars. Okay, if you haven't, you should. They're excellent. ATR, that's correct. He uses ATR. There's our move, guys, into 10. So these buyers are relentless. So now they've reached 10. Okay, and that's quite a bit of buying, but let's look at, did we go through it? No. Not yet. They're supporting it here at 08. Yeah, so Captain Price, you're right. Don't know how you manage the risk. Yeah, no, he uses the ATR precisely to manage this risk and profits. All right, so measured moves in here are really no different than using ATRs. Okay, so it's a gauge of the market, a volatility basically. So you know, where in the auction is price maybe too high or too low? Where is it likely to retest where buyers came in, like here? Okay, it went right to it, right? And we found buyers again above it here. Okay, look at this back and forth in here. Okay, we got up here and these buyers are relentless. Okay, so but look at these pullbacks. Look where they're taking place. Okay, into where these buyers. Now this one's a little bit higher, and that's kind of surprising because it's not a very strong move on the buy side. But a little bit higher here, more, you know, more buying. These pullbacks in here make good sense to me. Now look at the sellers. Now the sellers are going to try to take control of this now. Okay, so the buyers have had their fun. Okay, now look, see the pivot here at 07.5. Okay, looking for sellers now to either, maybe buyers will come back to 07.5 and try, and then try to even break out further. Okay, or let's see if we get more sellers down here. We're looking for leg 2 of this down into not just the figure but below it. Okay, probably back down into maybe I don't know, somewhere around in here. We see the liquidity here at the figure. Maybe we can get down to into 85. Okay, so let's take a look. Sellers hit the bid and the figure. Let's see it. And stops. Let's see it. I got to see my stops and icebergs setting in here. I should have it on. No, it's on sliding. I have no idea why it's on sliding. Okay, I like summation. Okay, we'll keep it at that. Scott uses sliding. I guess that's the default. Okay, still haven't gotten there yet. Let's see if these sellers come in again here at 02. Now we're looking for it. Let's see it, sellers. Let's see you hit the figure. And I would take some off there. Again, this is not a trade recommendation. Okay, I'd be stopped out at break even right there. We've seen this behavior here today where this is all you get, and then buyers come in and then it's right back up into 07.5. Now that scenario is wide open if we get the buyers up here. Okay, now why would I do that in here? Okay, now here come our buyers. There's our pullback already. All right, buyers, let's see it. Let's see the move back up into 07. 07.5 here. Yep, I like it. Again, not a trade recommendation, just looking for this to move due to the order flow, the condition of the orders. See the bid in here? Okay, they're bidding up. Now they're pretty far away. We'd like to see them be a little more aggressive up higher here. That would help. See how this guy comes in and look at the reaction, little pop. Now he pulled. Okay, so anyway, we're covering ranges, measured moves, and then now we can talk about ATR. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit more here. All right, so ATR is exactly, it's really the same thing. You know, it's ATR is based on a period. Wilder's period of 14 is on a 5-minute chart, for example. Well, we can duplicate that. We can look at a 5-minute chart in here. Let's just do that. 5 minutes. There we go. All right. So in general, let's just say then we can draw up a rectangle. You can see these are pretty. This is kind of decent here. You know, something like that. Now I'm just guessing. Maybe you guys have some of the software in there. You can tell me. But here from about 10 on down to what, 96, so about 4 or something. Is that right? No, I'm sorry, I mean 14 or so, something like that. All right, so anyway, yeah, you can see that you know, we're in the middle of a range in here, and we can kind of look at the ATR here. Okay, now see how that measures up. Our measured move idea is it's not wrong. Okay, so what if they can break that? Here they go. This is looking pretty strong, pretty good buying here, right? I'd be looking for this to break up into 15 and then 20. Okay, so based on our measured move in here, maybe it can go higher, maybe it can go to 25, but I like 20. We talked about 20 already, and let's see if we can get it here. Corinne, how do you put the candles on? It's really simple. It's up here under, well, it's in, you can see it up here under configure visible components, but it's where you really find it is up here under studies configuration, candlesticks. Okay. All right. So now we're looking for an ATR move here, right? Here's our breakout, guys. Looking good. We're looking for 20, but basically the ATR, if it's 14, is way up here. Okay, 25. Let me see if I can duplicate an ATR here from investing.com. Hold on. Okay, so I'm not, now again, you'll have to come on Thursday to listen to Scott and how he uses ATR. But I just want to cover order flow within moves. And why some of these things make sense and why they work. Okay, now nothing works 100%. It's a market. It is dynamic. There's a lot of crazy things that happen. And if a Fed speaker says something, well, it's going to make a big difference. You know, if some geopolitical event unfolds, that's going to make a big difference. Okay, so here's what I've got now. Do I have a 5-minute chart? No. Okay. All right, I don't know. Here's what I've got. I don't know what you guys come up with, but here's 14 ATR here, 14 period. It shows about 8.5 points. Okay, so let's mark that up. Let's mark up 8.5 points in here. Okay, so let's zoom in. And we'll go from 10, edit this, from about 10 to 18. and a half, something like that. All right, so 20 looks pretty good, right? So 1 ATR would be this would be where you might want to consider taking some profit. Okay, maybe front run it a little bit. Okay, reduce some of the risk. Okay, the concept in here is very simple. The market seems to be creating these moves in here of about 8.5 points over at least an average of the last 14 periods. Okay, so then it makes sense that, well, it can do that. Okay, now again, it's probabilities here. This is really the key to understand. This is not some sort of math equation. These are probabilities. Okay, so you can you have to kind of consider what kind of trading plan works for you in here. Like if you want to look for your pure 8.5 point move, well, then that's what you're looking for in here, is the move up into 18.5 here. I'm sorry, I kind of messed this up a little bit. Okay, so up above here, so it'd actually be above 20. Okay, I like this one though. I'm looking for the breakout of this one, and it matches up pretty nicely with 20. Okay, so I'm going to go with that one. But anyway, now Scott's using it very differently. He's using it for a stops and iceberg event, and then he's looking at ATRs around that event. Okay, very different than what I'm doing here. All right, so just please don't get confused by that. We're looking for order flow around some of these areas here. Here we go. Let's see it. Let's see it, buyers. They got it. This is where the sellers will probably try to defend it really hard here, but the buyers totally have this here. They've got it. Looking for the move. Okay, primary scenario would be buyers here. Okay, the bid looks good, the pressure looks good. We're at the top of this range here. We just need to see the buyers up here, and we just didn't get them. So look out. We're going to probably come back down, test the bottom of the range here, and then come right back up. We've seen this move so many times. It fails up here, you get exhaustion. We get a move down to the bottom of the range and maybe a little bit further, hit some stops, and then buyers come right back in, hand over fist, and then we get the move. Okay. In fact, that was so consistent a while back that we would not look for the move and the breakout here. We'd look for the opposite to unfold. Okay, so let's see if we get that here again. See how this will stop everybody out, and then we get buyers back up above here, and then the nice move. Okay, so let's look for that scenario. Got to get buyers here, right here. And we're not. Okay, so this is not unfolding right now. Okay, it still may. We still may get the buyers come in. Okay, but not right now. That's for sure. All right, guys. Well, anyway, you can kind of you get the idea of what we're looking at and going through. Now we got to zoom out and put this into bigger context as well. And let's take the candlesticks off. Yeah, we just went up to this swing and it's starting to come back down. Buying still looks good though. I still like it. Let's just there's just kind of a pullback here in the bigger picture or medium term picture. Okay, so and then here come our buyers again. Great. Let's see them trade into and through 15 and then hit our 20 here. Okay, high liquidity, they just traded it. Can they just get above this 15 now on a little bit of size, and then we'll get our move to 20. Looks good. Let's see it, buyers. Not yet, not yet. It was looking good right here. Just wanted to see those big green dots here. That's it. Okay, back up. All right, buyers, you've got it yet again. Let's see if they take it here. And it's probably going to be a quick move. That's what happens in these kind of volatile moments here. You know, the very, very, very sharp, quick moves here. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a pause on that. We're going to look at the bigger picture here in our candlestick charts. Okay, and what's going on daily on the left hand side, hourly in the middle here, and then on the right is a 5 minute. Okay, we can make it a 15. Okay, all right, so yeah, you can kind of see what's going on here. On the daily, we've come back down to these lows from you know, a couple strong moves to the downside, back down into these areas, and maybe a bit of covering here. The hourly looks pretty interesting here. We can see the wicks up in this area here. Let's go back to a look back period here. Hold on a minute. Okay, so if we fail up here, because even yesterday we were talking about a possible gap fill up into you know, 56 or so from Friday and opening on Sunday. Okay, so let's see. I mean, we're seeing the wicks up here. So what we're looking for is some pretty heavy buying. If we can get back up here again on that buy side around 37.30, we'd be looking for some pretty heavy buying in here to fill the gap. Okay, back up into like 66 or 68 is what we kind of looked at yesterday. Okay, bottom of the range. And let's see again. Let's see if we can get that buying pressure in here. Nope. Okay, bigger picture, this is still in play. Okay, and this is this nice cluster of buying in here in that breakout here. Remember we talked about our 7.5 area. And we can also take a look at, well, this is our ATR up here, but where the buyers and sellers who's in control in some of these moves in here. Okay, and this is where those buyers came in here. So they are still in control in this move here. And this is a low volume pullback here in the bigger picture. Medium term picture, basically. Yeah, I agree. Exactly, Captain Price. I don't see anything wrong with it yet. I mean, we were looking for kind of more micro moves in here, but this is still, it's still in play here. It's just kind of a little more zoomed out here. Now, it also may fail here. We may see just a tremendous amount of selling coming in here. Then we can look at our bigger picture here as some of these wicks in here, right? It would be selling in here and we'd come right back down. We'd probably be looking for about 96, maybe even 80, 86. Okay? And we're just right in the middle of it right here on this 15-minute chart. Yeah, it's kind of unclear. I mean, this is exactly what we're trying to read is the order flow and the participants. And we don't really, we know there's a lot of buying pressure. That's for sure. We know that. So that's undeniable all the way through here. Okay, since this webinar more or less began, we saw the selling originally down here, and then the buyers came in. Okay. And we got a reversal pattern in here. Now this is a small reversal pattern in here. And it actually followed through. It did it. It did its measured move as well. Again, measured move, I don't want to go into too much of the, like a head and shoulders pattern. I mean, here's your reverse head and shoulders right here, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder, okay? But I don't really care about that. That doesn't really matter. What matters is this range here, okay? And then the range back up above it. Okay, it kind of pulled back in here, but we'll go with it. We'll duplicate that one just to prove a point. And then we're going to move this up to here. Okay. So this is why we look at these things. Look where it came. Okay, here it was the kind of just shy of it, but then it finally hit it up here. Okay, so don't worry about the book saying, oh, it'll do the measured move once it breaks the neckline of the head and shoulders, whatever. That it may or may not, whatever. This is what matters here. This is where the sellers came in. Okay, we're looking to target high liquidity. We're looking for where it might go. Here's one, and here's the next up here at 10. All right. So, and this is where sellers came in, heavy selling. Right. So to have a pullback like that and a false breakout here is not out of the question. All right. So again, you can see what we're talking about here. We're talking about structure, but now we're talking about the transactions within the structure. Okay, let's see. Here come our sellers now. They're starting to break that structure. Okay, now it's down to our 07.5. Okay, so this is where this could be a nice little false breakout if if we get buyers back up to our 10 level and then through it. Okay, that's pretty good selling here, but we've seen strong reaction by buyers on many of these. Okay, but we're just going to sit on our hands until we see something else. It looks like seller's going to try to take it here, bottom of the range. And now here comes our battle. The buyer's coming back in. Well, I think the key here, Captain Price, is like, we're kind of going over stuff and looking for these ATRs and these structures and like breakdowns, breakouts, false breakouts and breakdowns, etc. It's when we see something clear and we know it, we have an edge there. Okay, and right now, I'm just not seeing it. Okay, bottom of this range here. Heavy selling, or not so heavy selling, but heavy on the offer here. Okay, let's look at some microstructure. Let's see if we get that scenario here. Now, sellers in this smaller structure here, they took control in this smaller structure from 1101 onwards, right in here, right? Okay, now I'm looking for an attack on the buy side. Let's see if they can do that, back up into those areas here. Okay, there's some exhaustion. There's some buyers. Let's see if they can reach back to 04.5 here, or 04.25. Let's see if they can break it. Can they break it? Okay, now if you want to play structures like this, you can. You'd be getting in here, somewhere around here, because you saw the exhaustion here. You should get sellers here. You didn't. You got buyers here up to the top of the range. Take half off. Hold it now. Okay, maybe you get the runner. Maybe you get that big move we're looking for. Okay, I know that's a quick trade in here, but it's the order flow is telling us something. Look at the exhaustion here. Sellers, not so many sellers, very little selling. Buyers coming back in here, back up to the top of the range. Now we're above it. Buyers can now take it back up to 07, 08, and then back up into 10. Okay, where they dropped it here. Okay, this is why we go over the smaller structures in here. Okay, now you would have taken some off and you would have been stopped out at break even. You made some money out of it, right? And you got stopped out at break even, and you just look for the next setup. Okay, and you reduced your risk. Okay, so that was a quick, and this is why I was mentioning why we're going over these smaller moves in here, because we can see many of them. We can go through this and it can sink in over time instead of waiting and watching for a bigger move here. Okay, so we're looking for clarity in here. When we see the clarity, you got to seize the opportunity. Let's see if we get buyers back up here again. Now, in terms of our structure here, the sellers still remaining in control. This is where we saw a smaller one and a move back up here, but here, okay, 05.5, we didn't get back up above there. Okay, in fact, we just made a lower low here. My point is that you can even take these counter trend trades back up here and try to hold for it. Now, counter trend on this time frame here since 11 o'clock. Okay, bigger time frame, this would be like a pullback here, and you're looking for the move back up, right, to 10, and then maybe on up further. Right, depends on the time frame you're trading and how you want to manage it. Okay, here's our move back up above 05. Okay, great. Let's see it back up to 07 here. Let's see if we get enough buyers here. Okay, so now we'd be looking for like a flag pattern here. Okay, which just means that buyers came in, a pullback, and looking for buyers again. Look at how they pull that liquidity here at 07. Okay, they're on the bid down here. We're just not getting our buyers yet. Right? It's not quite ready yet. Not quite ready. Now let's see. Now we should get them. let's see it. Now we've got them. Okay, 07.5 or 07.25. Looking for more than that though. You'll see once the market kind of gets an idea of direction, watch it unravel like this. Okay, so yeah, looking for our 10 and 13. 13 wasn't really an important level until we saw the kind of drop here. Okay, and then back to our 20 level. That was the original level that we were looking for. That failed. Okay, so now we're just zoomed out, looking at a bigger time frame here. Okay, this is really a key level here. This 10 on this time frame in here. Got to get buyers above 10. Okay, nice little move in here. Let's see the continuation. If they can get up here, and then we got to see those big green dots above 10 here. Okay, this is a critical area here. Okay, buyers, you've got it. Let's see it. And no one's showing up to the party. Okay, not ready yet. Not ready. Okay, back up. Let's see it, buyers. You got it. Again, you've got the move. You've got a lot of people, a lot of fuel here on the down from all of these sellers in here. Okay, so next level is our 13 there. That just touched, it looks like. Now our next level is up here, basically 20. Okay, we have our 17.5 swing high up here, but we're looking for our 20 level, which was our original level that we were looking for. Is it possible to get data out of this tool example? Yeah, you can get some data out of here from your time and sales. Okay, that's about it though. I mean, that's good. I mean, you can get quite a bit of from your time and sales there. Yeah. But if you want to get data from like the entire order book and the historical order book, it's not possible. You know, this is it's a big question because it is prohibited from the CME or from these exchanges. Okay, it's called non-display data, and they do not allow that. Okay, otherwise it'd be great, right? From what I understand, you can, well, I know people that have purchased data from the CME, data sets, and they're very expensive. So if you're interested in non-display data, guess what? You can get it from them. All right. So anyway, guys, we got up to here to 13. That's been it. Okay. But again, you can take some of these, reduce your risk on a day where we're seeing it all back and forth in here, right? But we're looking for some of these smaller moves to unfold. Now again, we were looking for above 10 here, that volume. We got some, and this is where they dropped it here at 13. And again, like if we can just see it clearer, and I'm sorry I didn't cover that. I should have covered this at this 13 level. Our 10 level and our 13 level is where we have to see the buyers come in, right? And we just didn't, right? We want to see the size of these big red dots or these big green dots here. This is what we want to see up here. Then we're looking for our 20. And I'll just readjust this trend line here. Okay, the market is shifting and morphing. This may fail, right? We may see enough sellers come in here to move it right back down to some of the lows. Okay, this is what we're getting. You can see our profile here from the session as well. A single distribution, okay, maybe a small distribution here, but basically, it's just back and forth in here. Okay? What we're looking for moves to some of these areas in here. Okay? We can look at the CVP, which is chart range volume profile. Okay? And we can play within the bigger picture here, the SVP, session range volume profile. That's why we have these two columns here, okay, for you volume profile guys. Let's duplicate this here. Okay, and we'll duplicate a bunch of them here. Something like this. All right, and we'll just take a look at this measured move and ATR idea. We could still do this. It's in this range down here. Okay, so, and that's, what does the Wilders say now? Still 8.5. All right, so let's see then. Will it do this? Okay, let's line it up. Well, then we look for heavy selling in here, and then we look for the move to 95. Okay. Do we see that initiated in here? Not really. We start to see some down here. Okay, hands off though. We don't want to see it just down here. We want to see it consistent through this area here. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's going to try to do it back down to 95 here. But I don't see a move in here, right? That's dictating that this may unfold. So this is just bottom of the range into this liquidity at the figure here. Okay, so again, this is using that concept of measured move and ATR, but we're looking at the order flow in here. Okay, there again, heavy selling. All right, but we want to see that it's consistent and through this area here. It may do it. It may move down here. Right, but we're not really seeing we're seeing it come in here. But what if buyers come up back up above 02.5 here? Right, well then that's when we're looking for a more consistent move. Maybe 05, but I like it 02.5 to begin with. Let's just call it 05 to 02.5 to 05, and then a move right back up into 10. Okay, so some different scenarios to take a look at here. Okay, and I know what's happening here, guys. If you see your stops and icebergs like this, you go back to summation. This is what I I didn't do this here. See how I have a line here and both axes are perfectly aligned in here, so we're not getting too much out of it in summation. What we want to do is unalign those vertical axes here, and they're going to be different in numbers, but that's okay. We're just looking at the reference between sellers on the stop runs here versus the icebergs. Okay, so we just had a big stop run down here. You can see it's done half an ATR. Okay, and hasn't quite tested down here to this swing, okay, which is a high volume node too. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look at our bigger picture again. Boy, just not seeing much, guys, here. Bigger picture. I still love this idea here on the hourly of filling the gap today. And we've seen a lot of buying pressure come in here, but they just didn't follow through. So you know, we've come up to here around 32 and a quarter, and now we're right back down at, and you know, it's a 30-point move, but down to the figure here. Guys, can you see the same thing here that we're talking about in the 15-minute chart? Okay, so let's do a drawing in here. Here. Okay. So we can see this is a bit from yesterday, and well, it is from yesterday, and then the gap up. Okay, so again, same concepts and ideas. It's because it's order flow. It doesn't matter that it's candlesticks here. It's still order flow. And now it went up above the range. It went up above the swings here. This is where it opened right here, and then kind of back and forth, and then right back down. So it's already filled this gap here from, or I'm sorry, no, well, technically it hasn't. Technically it hasn't. The gap is down here. Okay, but it did fill this kind of some of the price action. All right, so now we can take that rectangle and move it up here. Okay, now it's a little bit bigger of a range in here, but it's the same concepts. And most of the price action has taken place within that area by far. Our API, let me show you where that is. Not mentioning username or something like that. Let me show you where that is from bookmap.com. Okay, this is good for a lot of different things to show in here. Go to bookmap.com. Okay, you can join our Discord room right here and ask a lot of questions in there. So you're not just you know prohibited just by the YouTube here. You can go in anytime, 24/7 in our Discord channel. So click on the More button and go to our knowledge base. This will take you into the user guide section of the knowledge base. Add-ons are here. All the add-ons are listed over here. And then there's the Java API here. Okay, and this has all the links to the GitHub and all that kind of stuff in here, right? So you'll find all of that in there. And also note that we are now we made a bridge to Python, so you can script in Python now in Bookmap. Okay, that's a really big advantage, being able to do it directly in Bookmap. All right, guys, so here we can see what's unfolding here. The move has come through that 95 back down into 90 here. Okay, and let's look at our bigger picture here. Okay, because it looks like they're going to go for bottom or low of the day here. God, I talk about these things and it maddens me to miss some of these moves in here. You know, answer questions, etc., and then to miss some of these things in here. Kind of a bit of a harder read. We can see though that the structure here is telling us that the buyers are not coming in. In fact, we went below the figure, back up to the figure here, and then these sellers in here. This is giving us some pretty good insight. Okay, and then they come in here again, below it, boom. Okay, lows of the day here, not quite yet. Looking for it down to about here, which is 86 or so. Okay, looking for 85. Let's just zoom vertically here. Are we going to trend today? And then looking for 80. All right, let's look at our bigger picture as well. So the first area is this kind of 86 here. Okay, and then again the gap fill. I'd be looking for maybe a high volume node in here, or somewhere around maybe 78 to a range 78 to 68, 67, something like that down here. Okay, if we get the sellers here to move the market. Yeah, well, the buying was very, very strong earlier, and they just we've seen it so many times. I mean, like very, very strong, very, very strong. And when they start to do this, we look for this pattern. You know, I know I can't stand doing this in hindsight. The pattern is here though, that we saw those sellers come in, drop it. Okay, and then we were looking for maybe back up to 13, which we did look for that, and we're still looking for buyers here. We had our reasons. Okay, we're still kind of above the figure and the structure in here, and buyers could take it here. They could, and then we'd be looking for our original move to 20. Okay, instead we got up to here where these sellers took control in here, and let's just zoom in here because we get more volume information. Okay, heavy selling. Okay, buying is not bad in here, right? But this is where the sellers took control. This is where we need to see the buying. Okay, and we got some, right? We got some. And this is where the sellers take it back down to the bottom of the range. Okay, now the hindsight just drives me nuts because we've seen this all the time in real time, all the time. And look at the heavy selling coming in, okay, and moving that market. Now it's back and forth in here, okay, but look at the structure. Okay, this is why market structure is so critical let's just go through it here. We'll take a volume dots off and look at market structure. And let's get rid of all of our lines here, clear our drawings. Okay, lower highs, lower lows. Okay, even if we get tons of volume in here, we got to get back up on the retest, or they need to break out from here and then retest back up into here. Okay, and then at that point, this structure would break here, the smaller structure, and it would test back up to here. Okay, it didn't. Here's their try again. Is there volume on here? Let's take a look. Not see how we just don't get the buyers up here. Okay, guys, we've covered it for a long time. Sellers, some buying, no buying, very little. Sellers again breaking the lows. And there's our move. Okay, so now what did we do? We went down to 80. Okay, we talked about going down to 80 because that's where the liquidity is. So nice move into 80. Let's look at our bigger picture. There it is. It broke out of this here. It broke down below 86. Okay, and we're down to 80. High liquidity there. And then we talked about this kind of 78-ish level, which it looks like it just traded down to 68 or so. Okay, so we're looking for that now, potentially for playing out here. Okay, 65, 70 liquidity here. Okay, looking for the continuation. Okay, it's now we've got our trending move here. We do have our European close just now. Okay, coming up just a couple minutes. Yeah, the sellers may start to cover here. I'm looking forward to continue, and it already is. It's already kind of hit our level here. Okay, we still have 70 and 65 in terms of liquidity. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to kind of continue on down, and then maybe buyers scoop it up below the areas here. Well, we can look at even the bigger picture here, and you know, this is where the sellers really came in. We know that, right up here. So up in here, they moved that market. This is strong selling. This is the pullback, and this is strong selling. We got a pullback here, but with quite a bit of buying in here, quite a bit, right? This is the confusing part, I think, for today. Was all of this buying in here. Look at the size of these dots. Look at the size of some of these bars in here. These are some of the biggest volume areas here for today. Okay, and they failed to make it back up to, 25 or 30 here. And we were looking for that, especially 20, because they dropped it here at 20, which is looking great here. And there's liquidity there. And we were holding out. We saw even the trend line break here. And then we look for the retest back up to here, which we did get. And then we're looking for the continuation. And they couldn't. And now we didn't even make a higher high in here. Okay, above the swing here. Right, and then we start to see these sellers come in. We're looking for the move down to 95, low of the day here, and then nice liquidity down here. And then we also outlined our 76 level, and there's liquidity down here at 75. Okay, so now Captain Price, I'm kind of looking to see. You can even see it in the book here. Look at them bidding up underneath, right? So let's go back here. Okay, so you can see what we're doing. We're kind of looking at these bigger picture areas in here. The true gap fill is down here at 67. Okay, but we talked about this kind of this little area in here. Okay, and I would agree with you that we're going to get some covering here at this point. Okay, so we'll see if it's just covering or if it's new buying coming in here, right? And we would be looking for in the bigger picture here on this 15-minute chart is a move back up, okay, to somewhere probably, well, top of these ranges here, let's call it 90, and then maybe even the figure. Okay, right, so yeah, 86 or 86 level too, right in here. This swing here for today also looks good for a pullback. Okay, now is it going to be a pullback, or is it going to try to come back up further? That's what we need to ascertain when we look at the order flow here. Okay, again, strong buy volume. Okay, but sellers, stronger sellers here, and they took control of it here. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at these areas here versus this buying in here. Okay, so can they pull back to here where they dropped it from? Let's call it 87, maybe 87.50. Yep, looks good. I'm looking for that move up into 87.50. Very strong buy volume, very strong. Okay, now lots of icebergs here as well, running right into them. Okay, now we know that there's heavy liquidity in here too. It's trading into it. Why do we think that? Well, we can see it. However, strong buy volume, and it's not able to move the market up higher. Something's a little off, right? We see our icebergs in here. We get our strong buyers in here. We're not getting the movement though. Okay, let's see if they can reattack here. And then a move back up into 90, or first our 87 and a half level, and then our 90 level. Okay, right, this is the key here, this level here. Okay, that's what we're looking for, a test. And then 90 also is another key level. Okay, they've got it. They've got enough buyers here to do this. They just need to show up, and we need to see them. We don't see high liquidity here. Okay, we're not looking for icebergs here either. Now let's see them bust through this right up to not only 88 but 90. Okay, very similar to what we saw before. There's one big difference here. Very similar to what we saw before is lower highs, even though we're getting our buyers in here, lower highs and lower lows. One big difference and distinction, and this matters, is we are at the bottom of a range now, or at a low. Okay, so even though we're starting to see that in here, right, that buying in here, they just can't muster the move. Okay, we noted that here, right? They just couldn't, right in here, and it was like, what's wrong with this? We can see this huge buying in here, so we know why. There's an iceberg, and we know that there's high liquidity there. Anyway, it made it up to about 86 on this chart here, on our 15-minute chart. Let's see if they can get back up a little bit higher, maybe 90. Well, let's just call it 90. That's where that liquidity was. A beautiful move to there. Guys, one of the strategies we talked about a lot here, or several times, is a move back up to the level and then continue on with the breakout. Okay, so we'd look for that, like maybe some sort of bottoming pattern down in here someplace. Okay, so the nice thing to do is that you can reduce some risk looking for that move back up here, and then hold it for a bigger, higher time frame move. Okay, I don't see it unfolding yet, but you know, here we go. Yeah, so let's see if they can do it. That, I know it's a little bit late, but somewhere around in here, looking for the move back up to here, 85. Okay, it's not a trade recommendation, it's a concept here, and then we're looking for the breakout. So you can at least reduce some risk here, up around this level here. Boom, right there. All right, now you can move your stop to overall break even. Guys, I'll show you the new break even tool that we have. I don't know if I have it right now. Let me see. If I do, I'll go over it right now. It's fantastic. All right, I'll go over it on Friday, I guess. All right, so anyway, you can move your stop to overall break even. Now you can move it to the break even of this position, even though you've scaled out one and you've got one on for your runner, right? So you're giving it a shot to run here. We don't know if the higher time frame is going to work out and move back up into this 90 level here. Okay, but that's what we were looking for with this trade idea. Okay, and again, not a trade recommendation. Okay, it's just order flow, reading the order flow and then looking for these moves to unfold. Okay, in our bigger picture, this is what we're looking at here. See the swing here and our 90 level. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, it was from yesterday actually. The first one is here, which it already did, 86. The second one was from the swing on from yesterday. No, I'm sorry, it is, no, yeah, it's back up here, this swing here, right? So let's look at Bookmap here. Okay, somewhere back up into here, and there's already liquidity up here at 97, so maybe a little bit below it here, around 96 or so. All right, let's see. So let's just zoom out here. Now we covered today, we talked about well, a lot of different things about, again, identifying who's moving the market, and that's really the most critical thing to understand here, and understanding the market structure. We talked a lot about that. We always do. Looking at bigger ranges of liquidity, where there's liquidity, why the market trades back down into those levels, and then we talked about moving or measured moves, and we talked a little bit about fibs. Okay, so the we talked about the fib levels, or the measured moves, and why we can look at them, and then we extrapolated that understanding into ATR. Okay, just making sense of the order flow and the moves by the market structure. All right, and then we're going to look at the order flow within some of those moves to understand where price might go. Okay, so look at the volume starting to trade up here. Okay, it's looking good. Now this did not make a lower low, and we're getting volume back up here at this high. Buy volume. That's what we're looking for. So this has higher probability of working out back up into our 90 level. Okay, from this 86 or 85 and a half on up to 90. Okay, do you see that? Can you see that in here? Can you see the order flow in here? Right, so this move here compared to this one here, which we kind of lost track of. We saw that selling coming in, and then we got this one back here, and then I lost track of it. We're at a critical moment, in fact, but now we're tracking it here. Okay, and we're looking for a higher probability move here, okay, on the buy side. Okay, just back up into some of these areas here. That's it. Okay, well, we'll wait and see. Let's see if they buy off of here or support it off of here where they came in, right, and move this. Okay, this is about as far as they can go. All right, well, all right, so that one didn't quite work out, but this is still in play, guys. It is still in play. This is just bottom of the range here. Sellers coming in, but look at how they fail to move that market. All right, I'm looking for buyers to stream right back up here, right back up to 86. And then 90. Okay, again, you know what we're kind of looking for is when we saw this with the buying earlier, was they failed to move it. Let's see. I do not see any crash halting. No circuit breakers at this point. All right. Well, we're building volume down here again on the sell side. They still haven't moved it though. Okay, look at the bid and look at the reaction to that bid. Our buyers are still in here. Okay, they got it right up to 86 here, looking for it. Okay, looking for it right here at this kind of 83 and a half area here. Okay, stopped out. Gave it a shot here, had my reasons. Okay, small loss. I'm not going to let this go against me in here. Okay, it wasn't a trade. I'm just kind of going through process here. You know, I'm looking for just back up to 86 here and had my reasons. Let's see if I can do it again here, or are we going to get our sellers and then hit back down to the lows, back down to 76. Yeah, looks like sellers got it here. Buyers just couldn't do it. This nice cluster in here, selling cluster, not able to move it. Now we're back down in here. Now the sellers can move it. Okay, lower highs, lower lows, sellers coming in. They got to break. We got to see them break through here though. 80, this 80 level, that was our previous level before. And we got to see the sellers here. If we don't, you know, this is what happens. We get those buyers that come in like this. And that would be a false breakdown. Okay, this would be like a shot in the dark here, but you could, you know, buy off of that pullback there. It did break this small structure. And boy, I would dump it already. It has to work immediately. It just has to. If it doesn't, the order flow is not ready. This is the edge that you get with the order flow. It has to work immediately. Okay, on the bid, not bad. Anyway, guys, we'll continue on tomorrow with JTrader. He's actually out of the country, or out of his country. He's in the US. He'll do the webinar from the US. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, just a quick recap on the ATR, measured moves, and then who's in control in certain areas here. Okay, and then looking for the order flow around those areas. Okay, sellers got it here. No buyers in here, just not enough. So sellers are, this is looking again, it's been back and forth, but it's looking pretty high probability here for these sellers to drop it down to 76 and 75 here. Okay, let's see them come in right now, and let's see if they can do it. We were pulling for buyers in here because of that, and it broke, and then still kind of looking for it, and we're not getting those buyers. Okay, so now the sellers can just very easily drop it down to 76 and 75. Okay, and then we can also look for this as a continuation pattern, right? So you can trade it back down to 75, okay, down to here, right? But you can and take some off because we never know, but you're just looking for that range, and then you can look for your 70 and your 65 levels. Okay, and then also look at 50, 36.50 down here. Okay, makes sense. Okay, now we're going with the bigger trend now too. All right, so just you know, same concepts we've been going through in looking at the order flow around some of these areas here. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll call it a day, and we'll continue on tomorrow with JTrader. He comes in a little later, around 11:15 or so, and I'm sorry, 10:10 or 10:15. We'll continue then, and we'll look at some stocks. Okay. Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. If you like the video, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get you know, some updates on when there, you know, new webinars, new videos, etc. that come in. Okay, all right. Any more questions in? No more questions in Discord as well. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming, and we will see you tomorrow. Okay, take care.